Stop me if you've heard this before, but the Yankees are struggling and Rafael Devers may or may not have hit another home run. We had some drama in the Brewers game that stemmed from a game earlier in the season. Corbin Carroll went full Rose in Titanic. He hit his first home run in 84 years, and the Orioles, they are entering all-time status in terms of how much talent they have in their lineup because Heston Kjerstad, their former first-round pick and rookie this year, he's finally figuring it out. We're going to talk about all of that and more in today's MLB Recap, and just a reminder, Recap is presented by SeatGeek. Use code Fuzzy to save 20 bucks off all of your tickets. And if you like daily fantasy sports, be sure to download Underdog Fantasy. If you use my code Fuzzy and you're a brand new user, you get this free Ellie De La Cruz pick'em. Don't miss out. Speaking of missing things, I did not post yesterday. You guys know, no post on Sundays. I did not get to cover Saturday's game, so I missed Ben Rice hitting 3 home runs in one game. Jose Miranda tied an MLB record with a base hit in 12 consecutive games. That is insane. In that same game, top prospect Brooks Lee hit his first career home run. James Wood of the Nationals, he also belted his first career home run as well. It would not shock me at all if James Wood in the next 15-20 years joins the 400 club. That's 400 home runs and 400 stolen bases. Oh, by the way, Ohtani, he hit his 28th home run. Real quick before we talk about the breaking trade and all of the games from yesterday, I do want to talk about the All-Star starting pitchers as well as the reserves. So we can see in the AL, we have Tyler Anderson, Corbin Burns, Emmanuel Clase, Garrett Crochet. I mean, that was a given. He might be starting the game if not for Tarek Skubal. Logan Gilbert, Clay Holmes, Tanner Houck, who's been insane. Same with Seth Lugo. He could start the All-Star game as well. Mason Miller, he represents the A's. Cole Reagans, Tarek Skubal, and Kirby Yates. Look at him. For the NL, we have Tyler Glasnow, Ryan Helsley, Jeff Hoffman, Shota Imanaga, Reynaldo Lopez, and Chris Sale. They've been insane. We also have Tanner Scott, Paul Skenes. Paul Skenes made the All-Star game. Let's go. Matt Strahm, Ranger Suarez, Robert Suarez, Logan Webb, and Zach Wheeler. So Zach Wheeler made it over Christopher Sanchez. I love me some Zach Wheeler, but in my opinion, even though Zach Wheeler's been really good this year, I feel like Sanchez actually deserved it over him. For the reserves, we have Salvador Perez and Will Smith as the reserve catchers in the AL and the NL. For the infielders, we have Carlos Correa. I'm happy about that. He's been going off. Same with Rafael Devers. He's been insane this year. Josh Naylor, he officially makes it Isaac Paredes. Then you have Marcus Semien and Bobby Witt Jr. Marcus Semien has been a little interesting because his OPS is at 673, which is not very good at all. For the NL, we have CJ Abrams, Pete Alonso. I hate that because, not that I don't like Pete Alonso, I feel like Christian Walker should have made it over him. Luis Arraez, Mookie Betts, Ellie De La Cruz, Freddie Freeman, and Ryan McMahon. Good for Ryan McMahon. Then we have outfielders Jarren Duran, Riley Green, and Kyle Tucker. I'm so happy that Jarren Duran made it. That was the AL. The NL, we have Teoscar Hernandez, Jackson Merrill, Elliot Ramos. So we have 2 rookies, Merrill and Ramos, making their first All-Star game in their first year, and Brian Reynolds, I think that does it. Oh, David Fry is the DH in the AL, and then we have Marcell Ozuna. There you go. Let's talk about that breaking trade. So Austin Slater, I know he has a negative 0.3 WAR, but he is going to the Reds in exchange for a lefty by the name of Alex Young. To me, this is kind of a win-win trade. You guys might be wondering, who are these guys? I don't care about Alex Young, but from 2022 to 2023, over 80 innings, Alex Young had a 3.3 ERA. Now, a lot of that was out the pen. 88 games, he only started one of them, but Again, a 3.3 ERA is pretty solid. And Austin Slater has a 275 batting average for his career against lefties. He almost has a 370 on base. He's got a good amount of home runs as well. So because TJ Friedl is now on the injured list for a 3rd time, they pick up Austin Slater. And in return, the Giants, they fill in the gap left behind by Spencer Howard, who they just traded. We'll talk about that in a sec. So I'm just going to spoil it right now. Maybe both teams woke up because both of their teams lost yesterday. And TJ Friedl, he's on the shelf for the 3rd time. Blake Snell, he's been missing quite some time. And as you just saw, Zach McKinstry and Colt Keith, they both drove in runs against the Reds, and you can't really have that happen when Tarek Skubal is on the bump. He struck out 13 Reds, and maybe that's what triggered the Austin Slater trade because he sees lefties very well, like we talked about. Tarek now has a 2.3 ERA at 132 strikeouts. He's probably going to start the All-Star game. Zach McKinstry, a big day. He tapped in with a 2-run home run after the RBI single early. Parker Meadows, he put the cherry on top, but now he's going to be missing some time. He hurt his hamstring at some point in this game. So the Reds, they fall to 5 games back of a wild card spot, but because it's 5 games, one little hot stretch can save their season. Same with the Giants. They're trying to stay stay afloat and keep fighting for a wild card spot, and it looked pretty good early. Michael Conforto, that is a 440-foot two-run moonshot, and the rookie all-star Elliot Ramos, he cracked one up the middle for a 3-run lead, but the Guardians, they did what they do best. They fought back, and they stole this W. Josh Naylor and his brother did most of the damage. Josh had an RBI single right before rookie Daniel Schneemann doubled to make it 3-2. Matt Chapman, he made a special play. It could have really gotten out of hand, but his tag and throw to home ended the threat. Cleveland, they got right back to it in the 6th. 2 were on for Bo Naylor, who stayed scorching hot with a towering 3-run home run. Bo now has 3 home runs and 11 RBIs over his last 11 starts. Cleveland, they tried their best to give it away. I was stressing out. Conforto, he dribbled one for an RBI ground out. Angel Martinez, he hit the red on his throwing meter. He airmailed it. I was losing my mind. The Royals and the Twins have been on fire lately, so we can't blow this. And okay, cool. I already spoiled it really earlier, but Clase A does eventually book it. He has 27 saves. And by the way, there was a trade between these two teams in this series. The Giants traded Spencer Howard to Cleveland, so he literally just walked across the diamond to his brand new team. He was a former top 30 prospect back in the day. He's been awful to begin his career, so maybe Cleveland can save him. They haven't really done a great job this year with Logan Allen or Tristan McKenzie, but who knows? Maybe Spencer Howard can fill in the gap. So Cleveland has won 2 in a row. Minnesota is trying for their 2nd win in a row, and Kansas City's offense is alive again. We'll show their game later on. Carlos, I hope that he's okay. He took a fastball to the hand. He had a 9-game hit streak, so unfortunately this is going to ruin it, but I will say x-rays were negative. I'm praying that it stays that way because sometimes swelling will hide a fracture or something. Praying he's going to be all right. The Astros, they strung some runs together soon after. Cesar Salazar, which again sounds like a Slytherin name, he had a sac fly, and that was right before Altuve singled in Jake Myers. That's when the former Astro, Christian Vasquez, he made it a 1-run game. His RBI single cut the lead in half, and Houston's defense really cost them. An error and a Trevor Larnach single got Brooks Lee all the way to third base, and I have no idea how the Twins got away with this next play. Vasquez hit a tailor-made double play. Brooks Lee, he took off for home. He was out by 15 feet, but Salazar, the catcher, he muffed it. It's now tied. Altuve, he short-hopped the throw, and it's just bad baseball all the way around. Johan Duran, he struck out Chas McCormick to end the 9th inning, so it's still 2-2. Christian Vasquez, did he walk it off of Josh Hader? He did. He extends the team record with 25 games in a row with a home run. The Twins beat the Astros 3-2 on a walk-off Christian Vasquez home run. The ending of this game was also pretty wild, so do not go anywhere. The White Sox went up 2 after Danny Mendick blasted off for a 2-run home run, and after both teams traded runs on some RBI extra base hits, Vidal Brujan, he somehow got his hands inside on that pitch. He doubled in 1, only to have the White Sox catcher Corey Lee steal the run right back on a triple, so it's 3-1 White Sox. Andrew Vaughn, he wanted the bloop one, but Nick Gordon, he dove to grab it, and it barely stayed in his glove. It almost broke the glove. Chicago, they do make it 4-1 because that was a sac fly. There was a runner on third. Nick Fortes, he doubled in the speedy Vidal Brujan, so it's now a 1-run game after Josh Bell grounded out for an RBI. He's now 0 for his last 23, but at least it was a productive out. Did the streak just end with 1 out to spare? He pimped a fly out. Wait, Pham didn't catch it, so it's a pimping of a double. He thought it was a home run. Either way, that set up an opportunity for Jake Berger to walk off his former team. He's never going to hit 300, but he's going to hit you 20-plus home runs. Michael Kopech blows another game. He's got a 5.2 ERA and a 6.12 FIP since last year. He's got to get moved. He is not going to work as the closer in Chicago. The Marlins win on a walk-off 3-run home run, so let's find another team that won after scoring 3 on a home run, or should I say home runs. Luis Gil, he was dealing early, so it's probably the Yankees who popped off, right? Well, not so fast. Cutter Crawford, he was carving as well. This was a pretty fun pitchers duel I was watching at a brewery. Those are always fun days. Luis Gil had a bunch of strikeouts through 6 scoreless. He's going to try for 7 now. Rafael Devers, he ends the stalemate. He muscled one out the other way, and a Yankee fan caught it, and he chucked it back. Cutter Crawford was flat out special. He went 7 shutout with a few strikeouts. He's been so much better ever since he ended May pretty bad. Cedar Rafaela, he lifted off for the 2nd time of this series, and I think Devers has 3 home runs. I have no idea how he hit this ball out, like especially the location of that pitch. It was 7 feet outside, and he hit it towards the pole side of center field. That's his 28th career home run versus the Yankees. Kenley Jansen had an easy breezy 9th inning for his 18 save. So let's go find the Orioles game. We got to talk about the Orioles because not only do we have to see if they put even more distance between them and the Yankees in the East, but did Craig Kimbrell get a save and keep pace with Kenley? Let's find out. Anthony Santander came out hacking. This is the final game that Baltimore will play in Oakland, so this is their final game ever in the Coliseum. Santander had never hit one out in Oakland until that one, so good timing. Heston Kjerstad, this is so scary. The rookie is figuring it out, which is terrifying because we all know that once upon a time when he was drafted, I think second or third overall, he was one of the most highly touted hitters in baseball before he had some health issues. He's batting .409 with 3 home runs and 12 RBIs over his last 6 starts. Santander and Heston were at it again, but this time they were helped out by Mother Nature and the A's defense. Anthony, he got on base via the sun, and Heston, he got all the way to third base after Blade and Butler ran into each other in deep right center. So it's 5-0 Baltimore now, make it 5-1. Tyler Soderstrom, he's been swinging the bat pretty well lately. He doubles in Blade. And Oakland, they're going to try for another on this Langolier sac fly. I did not know that Heston had an absolute cannon. He got it there on a line, but Alley, he could not hold on to it. Everyone's okay, by the way. So Oakland, they make it 5-3. And, well, Gunnar, he got it back on an RBI single. Kimbrel, he does get the save, so Craig now has 23 saves this year, 440 for his career. Kenley has 438, so Kimbrel's 2 ahead. The Yankees, they fall back to 3 games of the Orioles for first place. Remember earlier when I said Cleveland cannot afford to lose because the Royals and the Minnesota Twins have been cooking? Yeah, the Royals, they scored 10 and only gave up 1 in this one. Freddie Fermin and Michael Garcia, they were facing some guy named Tanner Gordon. Oh, there he is. He's making his debut. Now, it started off nice. His family's going nuts. He got into a little bit of trouble in the second inning as Freddie, of course, we talked about him. He sent one up the middle, and Michael, he sent one over the fence. He just went golfing. That ball was at his knees, and thanks to the thin air in Coors Field, he just lined it out. But I will say, tip of the cap to Tanner Gordon, the rookie. He kept on fighting. He's in the 7th inning now. Again, you got to tip your cap to the kid. Despite giving up 5 runs, he's out there, and MJ, yeah, that's the 5th run right there. MJ now has 9 home runs. Brady Singer, he was great again. He tossed 7 innings with 7 strikeouts. His ERA is now at 2.93. Good for him. Now, there's not enough time to show his start because Bobby Witt Jr. just made it a 10 spot after Freddie Fermin made it 9 on a sac fly. Bobby, he tattooed a baseball. He's got 15 home runs, 22 stolen bases, a .325 batting average, 13 outs of average. He and Gunnar Henderson have taken the crown as the best 5-tool guys in baseball. So with that, the Guardians stay 6 games above the Twins and 9 games above the Royals. The AL Central is not garbage this year. Finally, one day after being shut out 7-0 by the Angels, the Cubs, they returned the favor and shut out the Angels. Dansby, he finally broke his little slump. He had not gotten a base hit in like 23 at-bats, so he pulled a Josh Bell. And by the way, I had no idea that Mike Napoli was the Cubs' first base coach. He is looking slim nowadays. Oh no, Zach Neto, he made a nice stop, but no play at second, and Miles Mastroboni, he beat it out, so he's there at first base. Miguel Amaya, he dunked in 1. Swanson scores, and I think Miguel must have thought he was Ellie De La Cruz or Bobby Witt Jr. He's thrown out at second base. Nico Horner and Michael Busch, they both did their jobs. They put baseballs in play. So after 5, it's 4-0 Chicago. Who was on the bump? Who was dealing? Hayden Wesneski. He came on over in the Zach Efros or Efros trade. I don't remember what it was. And he held the Halos to 1 base hit over 6 1/3 shutout. Porter Hodge, he got the final 2 outs in the 7th, and check this out. Michael Busch hit a home run off a very, very tough lefty. He's up to 11 home runs and a near 130 OPS plus. The 6'8" Luke Little, he was absolutely atrocious. He loaded the bases in the top of the 9th. Hector Neris, he got a rare save up by 5. That's because the bases were loaded. So that means the on-deck hitter was technically the tying run. That is a 1-out save up by 5. So 4 of the last 5 Angels games have featured one team getting shut out. The last shutout of the recap, Atlanta had their way with the Phillies. It wasn't 17-0 or anything crazy like that, but it was still a pretty easy W. And honestly, I'm not sure how Braves starter Reynaldo Lopez is not going to be the starter for the All-Star game. We'll talk about him more in a second because we have liftoff. The Braves hit 4 home runs in this game. Adam Duvall, he got all of it. He's been painfully bad against righties this year, so that's big for his confidence. Jared Kelnick, 430 feet for a 3-run home run. He goes to the chop house. It's crazy what a lineup change can do to someone because he's hitting .320 with 11 extra base hits and 14 RBIs and a .940 OPS in 21 starts as the Braves' brand new leadoff hitter. And should Ronald be their number 2 hitter when he comes back next year? We'll talk about that maybe next year. Matt Olson, he goes yard as well. He's still been pretty good this year, but his chase rate and strikeouts have ballooned a little bit. So if he can get that back in check, I mean, watch out for him. Reynaldo Lopez, he's throwing 98 in the 5th. He's through 5 shutout. Then he broke out the slider in the 6th inning, and as you can see, that's why he has a 1.71 ERA. He's got a crazy fastball, a really good set of off-speed pitches. Now, people are saying that 89 innings is too few to start an all-star game, but again, a 1.7 ERA, 93 strikeouts is pretty insane. Both of these teams have 4 guys who could start between Chris Sale, Reynaldo Lopez, Ranger Suarez, Christopher Sanchez. Anyway, there's Eli White with the final dagger of the game. The Braves, they sail to their 49th W, and by the way, they win back-to-back games to take the series versus versus the Phillies. Holy blowouts, both the Rangers and the Diamondbacks won big yesterday. We'll show the Arizona game in just a second. Langford, he got the home crowd cooking early. He drove in Seager with an RBI double. By the way, he's now their cleanup hitter, which is crazy for a rookie. Now, I will say Tampa made it interesting for all of like 3 seconds. Jose Caballero, he blasted off for a 2-run home run. He's got 6 home runs, 24 stolen bases, and 4 outs above average in replacement of you-know-who. But the Rangers, they tied it in the 4th on a Jonah Heim single, and they kept it there. The momentum was completely on their side. Travis Gronkowski, he sent one up the gut for 2 more, so everyone's going up the middle. Travis had a big day. I think he had 3 RBIs. Just like Corey Seager, he pulled one. He had 3 RBIs on 1 swing. He's not been as good as last year, but considering he's having a down year with 16 home runs and a 134 OPS plus, that just speaks to the unworldly ceiling and talent of Corey Seager. Leody Taveras and Travis, they added to it with some singles with the bases loaded. Leody's was a bit more normal. As you can see, Travis, I think he lucked out on miscommunication, or maybe they thought it was going to go foul. I don't know. Derek Hill, he poked one to make it double digits, and the Rangers were not done. Jonah Heim, he lifted off. That is a 4-hit day for the switch hitting catcher. Robbie Grossman is back with the Rangers. He was traded a couple weeks ago. He mashes lefties, and he just went yard off a lefty. Nathan Eovaldi, he did go 7 frames. He gave up those 2 runs off the bat of Jose Caballero, but he didn't walk anyone. He had 5 strikeouts. The Rangers, they've won 3 games in a row, and they're only 6 games back of the Mariners, despite being 6 games under 500, which is weird to say out loud. Yo, I can't remember the last time that we saw this. Corbin Carroll with the home run. He had 25 home runs last year. That was just his 3rd home run of the year, but I will say he's got a 340 on base and 6 stolen bases his last 28 games, so slowly but surely he's coming around after an all-time bad start. On the flip side, Jerkson Profar, he's had an insane first half. His 14th of the year was the only run that the Padres could come up with. Cease and Nelson, they were both stingy after those first home runs. They both carved their way for 5 scoreless innings after that, so they're both out in the 7th inning. And poor Dylan Cease, Eugenio Suarez, he broke it open with a 2-run home run. He had a monster 5 RBI day, so after Moreno, he singled to make it 4-1. Suarez, he cleared the bases. He had 5 RBIs in this game alone. He had 5 his previous 21 games. Also, he's been walking a ton lately, so that's a great sign at the very least. And I have no idea how this next ball landed. I thought for sure Alek Thomas flew out, but that's an RBI ground rule double. The Diamondbacks, they win easy. They've won 2 in a row. They're officially back to a 500 record, and they're just 2 games back of the Padres for a wild card berth, so this is a huge series. If you guys need tissues, go get some, okay? Because Christian Yelich is an all-star starter again, and he's absolutely raking. A lot of us thought that we might never say that again, but he's hitting .330 with 11 home runs and a 163 OPS plus. Eric Haas, I completely forgot he was on the Brewers. He had 22 home runs back in 2021 as a rookie, so he could be a nice little Swiss Army knife catcher, outfielder guy for Milwaukee. Now we have some drama. Do you guys remember earlier in the year when Yohan Ramirez, who almost hit Hoskins right there, he was a Met, and Jeff McNeil did not like Hoskins slide at second base, so Yohan kind of threw it at Hoskins. Yeah, that happened. Anyway, here's a crazy question to ask. Is Chris Taylor officially back? He's hitting .282 with 3 home runs and a .404 on base because he's walking like crazy since June 14th. And I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I had no idea that Blake Perkins was a switch hitter. Every time I've seen him in a recap, he's been a left-handed hitter. He smokes a solo home run an inning before a 2-run single. So he had a big 3 RBI day. He's also a fantastic defender. He's very fast on the bases. So he's just a really good ball player in general. Yelich, he added to it with another RBI extra base hit, and this could be a big swing for Milwaukee. Garrett Mitchell, he could be a serious 10 home run, 30 stolen base guy with platinum defense for the next decade. All he has to do is stay healthy. The Brewers, they have athletes for days. They're 53-38, and they avoid the sweep. Ooh, St. Louis had some fun versus the Nationals. Nolan Gorman, he got blessed by the baseball gods. Donovan, he was hustling, so he scores all the way from first base. I don't know if that was the son or rookie James Wood not knowing if he should call it off. It's now 2-0 now. Dylan Carlson, he brought home Nolan Gorman on a base knock. There goes the lead, though. Former Cardinal Juan Yepes, he tagged a long RBI double, and then a few moments later, he scores on a Riley Adams single, so good for Washington, but that was all she wrote for their scoring. Gorman, he went to left field again. This time he hit it on the screws. He did not need any help from the sun or miscommunication. St. Louis kept the momentum going with the leather. Check out Mason Wynn. What a play, the rookie. He's now hitting .294 with a bunch of web gems. The Redbirds, they kept on seeing red, and they just completely went off on the Washington Nationals. Wilson had a big 3 RBI day as well. A lot of guys had 3 RBI days today. He scores Mason, and then the other Nolan got one to fall. Arenado, it's not that he's an afterthought, but he's kind of forgotten this year, but he does have 8 base hits over his last 3 games. By the way, Kyle Gibson, at the ripe age of 36 years old, he has his highest strikeouts per nine since 2019. He had 8 strikeouts in 5 innings. Wilson Contreras, he might be on his way to winning Player of the Month in July. He crushed a hanging breaking ball. I think that he has a 320 batting average with 3 home runs and 8 RBIs already in the month of July. And listen to this, the Cardinals, they're 32-18 since May 12th. They're 14 games above 500 and one of the best teams in baseball since that point. They're only behind the Guardians for the best record since that point. Oh, this was fun. Leo Jimenez, you better save that baseball, kid. That's his first career base hit. Now, nothing came of it, but I did want to show it for Blue Jays fans. Victor Robles, he just hit the power button 422 feet to the second deck. That's his first home run as a Mariner, so a lot of first in this game. Now, I do have to recap this Kirk sack fly because Bichette, he's going to test Robles. Robles has a cannon. Bo, he slides in feet first. I can't believe he even made that play close. The game's not at 1. Mitch Garver, he's now at the dish with 2 on. Break out the Triton. He socked a no-doubt 3-run home run for the lead. He's only hitting .211 since the start of June, but Seattle, they'll take that because he has 7 home runs and 22 RBIs over his last 26 starts. Logan Gilbert, you might be wondering, why is he clapping and getting a standing ovation? Well, he just found out he made his first All-Star team, so he's got a 2.9 ERA, 108 strikeouts. Good for him. He's still 27 years old, so plenty of room to get even better. And you know how we talked about Garver going off? Springer has been even better. He ties it on a 3-run home run of his own. He has 10 on the year, 5 in the last 2 weeks. He's hitting .440 over that stretch, so that forces extras, and the Mariners, they officially blow it. They do lose this game as Dalton Varsho, he clutched up. They're up by 1, and Kevin Kiermaier, he was battling the sun for a long final out, but the Jays, they come away with a fun one. They win 5-4. Luis Ortiz and Sean Manaea both went 6 shutout with 5 or 6 strikeouts as Luis Ortiz almost lost the shutout. I thought that this Lindor double was going to go over the fence. Ortiz did bounce back. He got the final few outs in that frame, so he goes 6 shutout. And Manaea, he got some help from Nimmo out in center field. Sean got Gonzalez on a sweeper for his 6th strikeout of the night. So again, both guys went 6 scoreless. Finally, a run. Nimmo, he's making plays on each side of the diamond. So in scores Francisco Lindor. Edwin Diaz, he's trying to get a 4-out save, but that is a 4-pitch walk. And bye-bye lead. That was Ed Luz Diaz. I don't know who that is. I want Edwin back. I hope that he figures it out, but Nick Gonzalez, he puts the Pirates up by 1, and Aroldis, this is never a good sign. That is a leadoff walk. Francisco Alvarez is then replaced by Ben Gamel. You have Harrison Bader with a base hit. Can the Mets complete the comeback? Iglesias, he's walking as well. Francisco Lindor, he keeps on proving he's been worth every damn penny of that contract. He clutched up for a 2-run single, and they're now winning. He's got 26 doubles, 15 home runs, 16 stolen bases, 9 outs above average. The dude is a megastar. Edwin, he was back out for the 9th. I say Edwin because he went 1-2-3. He gets the W, not the save, but the Mets, they have the best record in baseball since May 30th. They're now 22-11 over their last 33 games, and let's check out the rest of the standings. So the Orioles are 3 games up on the Yankees. We talked about that. The Boston Red Sox, they are coming as well. They're 1 game away from 50 Ws. The Guardians and the Twins, they are leading the pack in the AL Central, but do not count out the Kansas City Royals. And even the Tigers have won 3 games in a row. The AL West, the Mariners, they're 49-43. So the AL West is kind of like the AL Central of past, where they kind of have a lot of bad teams and the winning team might finish 500. Who knows? I don't think the Mariners are going to finish 500. They're a pretty good team. The Phillies are leading the Braves by 8 games, but remember, they've lost 2 in a row. The Mets, they're 44-44. We'll talk about the wild card in a moment. The Brewers, they're ahead by 5 games. The Cardinals, again, we talked about how good they've been since May. And then the Dodgers, they're 7.5 games ahead of the Padres. Let's talk about the wild card real quick. So in the AL, we can see that it's the Yankees, the Twins, and the Red Sox. So the Red Sox are a playoff team if the season ended today. The Royals, the Astros, they're all within 3.5 games. Then you have the Rays, the Rangers, as teams who could trade some pieces, maybe not. I have no idea. The Tigers, same thing. Blue Jays, the Angels have some pieces. The A's, everyone's trying to get Mason Miller, and everyone's trying to get Luis Robert Jr., Garrett Crochet, maybe Michael Kopech of the White Sox. In the NL, the Braves, Cardinals, and Padres are all in it. The Diamondbacks, the Mets, the Giants, the Pirates, the Reds, the Nationals, the Cubs, they're all within 5.5 games. So again, 1 hot stretch and 1 cold stretch from any of these teams. There's leapfrogging going on everywhere. And then real quick, these stat leaders, we have Stephen Kwan. He is officially the #1 guy in terms of batting average. He officially qualified, so he's beating, well, it was Judge, but I guess he's going through a little slump. So now it's Bobby Witt Jr. and Quan as the number 1 and 2 guys. Then you have Profar, Ohtani, and Arias in the NL. You have Seth Lugo with 11 wins. He's tied with Chris Sale and Grayson Rodriguez. Nola and Tarek both have 10. Judge, he still has 32 home runs, but Ohtani's hitting .314 with 28 taters. That is insane. Gunnar has been crazy as well. Marcel and J-Ram round out the home runs. ERA, Ronaldo has a 1.7. We talked about him today. Seth Lugo, Corbin Burns, Tarek Skubal. I forgot that Corbin Burns could start an all-star game as well. Ronel Blanco has filled in nicely with all of the injuries that they've had. We know that Judge has 83 RBIs, followed by J-Ram, Marcell Ozuna, Alec Boehm, who is in the home run derby. I just saw that. Also, I think Bobby Witt Jr. and Gunnar are in it as well. Josh Naylor rounds out the RBIs. Saves, Helsley is way ahead of Clase, Kimbrel. Those are kind of the top 2 dogs. Hits, you have Bobby Witt Jr. Strikeouts, Crochet is just ahead of Tyler Glasnow. Cease, Reagans, Skubal, and then stolen bases. I mean, Ellie is leading everyone, but shout out to Bryce Terang, Jose Caballero, David Hamilton, Luis Rengifo. I forgot that Luis Rengifo had 22, and then quality starts. There you go. So that does it for today's recap. I know that was a longer one, but we had a lot to talk about. I appreciate everyone who watched until the end. Do me a favor, leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new, and enjoy the web gems.
Room on the right side of the infield for DJ, and a slow roll at a third. Devers, bare hands, got him!
Been really good at that.
In on his hands, coming in, shallow right, nice play.
And Vaughn on 0-2 sends it to deep left center field. Jazz!
Oh my, what a play by Jimenez! Out to shallow right center. Ozzy over the
Line drive snag by John Singleton. A leaping grab by the Astros first baseman.
And that's deep out to left field. Langford back through the wall, and he makes the catch.
He bunts crisply. Lee, bare hands, throws him out. Big.
One would think.
What a play on the first.